What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Christian Perspectives 2004 YouTube channel. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about the highly acclaimed TV series, The Chosen, that is obviously based off the life of Jesus Christ. And the show is widely acclaimed, and people really enjoy it. And the show has actually played a huge role in bringing many people to put their faith in Christ, and I think that is beautiful. I think shows like The Chosen, movies that depict the four Gospels, I think are amazing and play a huge role in, bringing people to Christ, because, for some people, reading the Bible isn't good enough. Studying the history of the Gospels isn't good enough. They need more. They need something physical. So having movies and TV shows like The Chosen, I think, are wonderful things to have. Now, The Chosen has been under some scrutiny by certain people within the Christian community, and understandably so. There are some things that The Chosen depict that just simply never happened. A great example would be from the latest season when Jesus sees King David. That never happened. At least there's no record of it happening. Yes, Jesus did see Moses. Yes, he did see Elijah, but there is no record of him seeing King David. So that's obviously something that the show made up. There's also a very controversial scene from the episode, and I believe it's season 3, where Jesus is in the synagogue in Nazareth, and he says, "I am the law of Moses." Jesus never said that, or if he did, again, it's not recorded in the four Gospels. It's recorded in the Book of Mormon, but of course we know the Book of Mormon is not reliable, and Joseph Smith was a false prophet, so clearly we can't trust that. But honestly, I think people get maybe a bit too up in arms about that scene, to say that, to get all upset because Jesus said, "I am the law of Moses." I mean, yes, I know he never said that, but still, I don't think there's really a big deal to make over that scene, because when you think about it, Jesus fulfilled the law of Moses, so it's not necessarily a stretch to do a scene like that, even though, again, Jesus never said it. So you see a reoccurring theme. There is some biblical inaccuracies within The Chosen, some add-ons, some things that just simply didn't happen. But all in all, though, I think the show is pretty good. I think it is biblically accurate, I'd say 90% of the time. But my problem with the show, and this is just a critique, it focuses on the disciples too much. Now, some people would like that, but personally, when I'm watching a show about Jesus, I'm watching the show for Jesus. I'm not watching it for the disciples. Don't get me wrong. I love Peter, I love Andrew, I love Philip, I love all them, but I don't watch the show for them. I watch the show for Jesus, who is played by Jonathan Rumi, who does a phenomenal job. in many ways, for people of my generation, the Gen Z generation, when we think of Jesus in cinema, we think of him as, say, like someone that's a Gen Xer, for example, would think of the guy that played Jesus in Passion of the Christ, for example, which I'm sorry, I don't remember what his name is, but point is, The Chosen, I think, is a really, really good show, but the problem is it focuses too much on the disciples. It creates too much drama within the show. Like, the show, to me, doesn't focus on Jesus enough, because your better episodes are the ones that feature Jesus a ton, like the episode where Jesus did the Sermon on the Mount, or the season 1 finale, or actually the last 2 episodes of season 1, because there's a lot of Jesus in those episodes. But the episodes that don't really feature Jesus that much, they're not really that good of episodes, because it's focusing on things that we don't know if they happened or not. Like, we don't know fully what issues the apostles ran into when Jesus gave them the authority to heal others and they went out to all the different towns. We don't know what issues they ran into. We don't know what kind of drama the different apostles had amongst each other. I mean, we just don't know. We know some of it, but we don't know much of it, because the Gospels recorded what Jesus taught, not any drama amongst the disciples. Now, one thing I will give The Chosen a ton of credit for, that I have not seen many movies or TV shows about Jesus cover, is the fact that Jesus had more than 12 disciples, and many of them were women, including, you have the Ethiopian woman, Mary Magdalene, sometimes Jesus' own mother, that Mary, would be there. So I do like how The Chosen depicts the female disciples, because there were female disciples. There were many female disciples. Now, were they present for Jesus' entire journey like the apostles were? No, but they still had a huge role in Jesus' ministry. And I feel like that's something certain other movies overlook when it comes to Jesus' life, because we know, yes, there were 12 apostles, but there were many more than just the 12 that was following Jesus on a regular basis. So just remember that. And again, that's something that I really like that the show depicts, is the female characters and how they are disciples of Jesus. For Jesus did have many female disciples that followed him regularly and listened to him teach regularly. And of course, if you know the Gospels, it was women that were the first to see the risen Christ, and that's the first piece of evidence that you know that the resurrection is reliable, because back in the first century, and heck, I would even say today, if your primary eyewitness for the first eyewitness is a female, and you tell her to go spread the message, most people wouldn't believe you. So, the fact that, females were the first to see Jesus risen from the dead is the first piece of evidence for the resurrection. But we will talk about all that in a whole separate video for evidence of the resurrection. But I do like how The Chosen depicts the female characters, and the casting for the show is really good. I do think Peter's character should be a little bit older, because even though we don't really know, it's when you read the Gospels, especially the Gospel of John, you get the feeling that Peter is the oldest amongst the disciples, so I feel like he should be a little bit older, but that's just a little nitpick thing. But they casted the show really great. The show is acted really great, and as I said, 90% of the time, it's biblically accurate when it comes to the things that we see with Jesus. Now, the things that we see with the disciples, we just simply don't know. We don't know. We don't know what drama the disciples had amongst themselves. We don't know what challenges they faced on their own. We just have no way of knowing. So really, the only criticism I have for The Chosen is the fact that there's not enough Jesus. The show doesn't focus on Jesus enough. Now, to people that don't like the show, people that think that the show is atrocious or think that the show is trying to rewrite the Bible, what I say to that is, remember back in episode 1 of season 1, the text at the beginning made it clear that there will be some additions to the story that they're telling. They're still keeping all the teachings of Jesus the same, all the historical events of the Gospels exactly the same, but they are adding in some things as well to make it be more streamlined in the sense of it being a television show. So remember that. Don't go attacking, say, the maker of the show because he adds in a few things. They're not trying to rewrite the Bible. They're just trying to, more or less, like in the case of The Chosen, take the 4 Gospels and turn them into a TV show. And, as you see with any adaptation of any sort of historical events, even World War II movies about the Revolutionary War, you see add-ons to those things. So naturally you're going to see add-ons to a TV series or movie about Jesus. So all in all, The Chosen is really, really good. I'll admit it's not my favorite Christian media. My all-time favorite Christian media would be the Gospel of John movie. That movie is amazing, and every piece of it is historically accurate and has no add-ons or anything like that. So I tend to enjoy that more because it doesn't have any add-ons and it focuses on Jesus. In fact, every scene in the movie has Jesus in it for the most part, whereas The Chosen's just, again, as I said, the biggest critique I have for the show, there's not enough Jesus, especially in your earlier seasons. And another issue I will pinpoint with The Chosen, it stretches out certain events way too long, like The Last Supper, for example. The Last Supper did not need to be a 3-part movie. That is just way too long, and they're adding way too much. They could have easily, because The Last Supper, the crucifixion, the resurrection, that all took place over the course of a week. So there's no need for them to stretch it out that long. That there was just no need for it. So that is one other critique I will give it. But other than that, The Chosen, as I said, is for the most part biblically accurate. Yeah, it does add in some things. Yes, it does throw in some things that may or may not have happened. But all in all, it is still one of the most historically accurate pieces of Christian media I've ever seen. Has one of the best actors to ever play Jesus in Jonathan Roumie, and Jonathan Roumie seems like an amazing human being, and I really, really enjoy the show, and I plan on continuing to watch the show. And hey, if you're someone that doesn't like the show, that's okay. That's totally okay. But one thing I will say to anyone watching this, whether you're a fan of The Chosen or not, read the Gospels. Read the Gospels for yourself, because I feel like you will have a greater appreciation for the show if you read the Gospels. Plus, again, as great as it is to watch Christian media, nothing beats, in my opinion, nothing beats reading the 4 Gospels for yourself. But with all that being said, thank you all for watching, and God bless you all.